Hello, scientists. Today we are going to be learning about photosynthesis. And let's find out more about that with our target. Today I will learn how plants make their own food so that I can understand the function of the leaves. Now let's take a look at the word function. We've talked before, function means job, so I can understand the job of the leaves. I will know I've got it when I can explain the steps of photosynthesis. So let's think for a minute this morning about leaves. So I've brought with me today a leaf that I have from my neighbor's tree. And look what a large leaf that is. I love these leaves. So my neighbor has a tree that has these humongous leaves. And so each year I like to share it with my fourth graders because they just think it's fascinating how big this leaf is. And me too. So think about it compared to the size of my head. This is a pretty big leaf. Now we've learned before that the function of the leaf is to make food. But what does that mean? I want you to think for a minute. What does it mean when I say the leaf's job is to make food? Okay. I also want to show you something that when I was getting some leaves from the yard, from the trees, from some of my plants. And I'm going to share lots of different leaves with you, but I wanted to share with you, well, and I will have to find it again in a few minutes. I found a little critter, and I hope I can find it for you. It has somehow moved and disappeared, so I will continue to look for that little critter and see where he has moved off to. He was on the leaf, and I'm just looking for him. I will find him soon, I'm sure. He can't go too far. All right, let's get back to our lesson today. So, to get us started today, we are going to watch a video that's on Study Jams about photosynthesis. As you watch, here's what I want you to think about. How does the leaf make food for the plant? Remember, it's so very important for the plant to survive, grow, and reproduce so that it can make more plants. So how does that leaf make food for the plant? Below our video, I'm going to give you the link to Study Jams, but I just want to show you what it will look like. So when you get to Study Jams, you're going to learn about photosynthesis. Plants create food through photosynthesis. For photosynthesis to take place, plants need sunlight, chlorophyll, water, and carbon dioxide. Different parts of the plant are used in photosynthesis. So you'll just go to the link below my teaching video, and you'll click play video, and you will watch about photosynthesis. Now, this afternoon, when you're done with all your other lessons, and when you have time, you can come back to this, and you can click the Sing Karaoke, and I think you'll enjoy that song as well. So let's go ahead and watch the video, and then come back to the Google Classroom Ms. Colson teaching video. Okay, so now that you've watched the photosynthesis video, let's review some things. Very important word today, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process that green plants use to make food. It's a process. There's multiple steps involved in the plant making food. So you remember from the video that we talked about some of these words. Let's take a look at the process of photosynthesis. So we have our plant. Our plant is taking in water from the roots, so the roots are used, taking in water. Also, the leaves take in the sun's light. Carbon dioxide comes from the air. It goes into the plant leaves. And then photosynthesis, the food making process, takes place in the leaves. Sugar is formed in the leaf, and then the plant gives off oxygen. And the oxygen we use. We need the oxygen. So, no matter what size the leaf, a leaf this big, or got some other leaves to share with you. Oh, and I just found my little friend. Let me show you this guy real quick. Let me just pause for a minute to show you him. So earlier this morning when I got the leaves off my tree, I saw this and I thought it was some type of cocoon. And I started wondering about it. And then I took the leaves out this morning and had them out in the classroom. And I came back to the leaf. And actually, when I brought this in, this little guy was on this leaf. And so I thought, this is what I was wondering. Did it eat this part of the leaf? And was it forming some type of cocoon? But what I quickly learned is this little guy is alive because it has moved from this leaf, which is where it was this morning, now to this leaf. So when I'm finished talking to you guys on our video, I will take this outside so that it can go back to nature. But I thought it was a cocoon. And I have also used my magnifier to look super close at it. So as you're out looking at leaves, and I'm going to encourage you today to go look at some leaves, maybe take some leaves off the trees and compare their sizes, you may find something like this on a leaf too. So no matter what size the leaf is, a big leaf, a small leaf, notice the different shapes of the leaves. There's these leaves. No matter how tiny the leaf is, no matter what color of green it is, no matter what shape it is, all of these leaves have the same job. They all have the same job, no matter what size, no matter what shape, no matter what shade of green, they all have the same job. And the job is to make food. And that happens through the process of photosynthesis. So I always enjoy sharing this with you because I like to think of photosynthesis as a recipe. And so to make one batch of sweet, delicious glucose, because that's what the sugar is called that's being made in the leaf. To make one batch of sweet, delicious glucose, here's what you need. You need light from the sun. You need water that comes from the soil that's gathered by the tree's roots. And as I'm talking, I want you to be looking up here. So you need carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide comes from the air. And you need chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is in the leaves. That's what makes our leaves green. Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll comes from the cells of the green plants. So they may not always be the exact shade of green, but it's still chlorophyll in those leaves. Chlorophyll comes from the cells of the green plants. So here's what happens. Just think about it as a recipe, like we're making something. You mix up the chlorophyll, the carbon dioxide, and the water together, and they bring in the energy from the sun, and then soon glucose, which is called sugar, and oxygen will form through a process called photosynthesis. And that glucose and that oxygen form in the leaves, no matter what size the leaves are. Little bitty leaves, long, thin leaves, short, wide leaves, Big, big leaves. No matter what type of leaf, that glucose, that sugar forms in the leaf, and then oxygen gets let out, and we need the oxygen, so we work together. Now, what you're going to work on today on your own is you're going to read a little bit more about photosynthesis. And here's just another picture of the same thing happening in the leaves. Glucose is being made in the leaf, and glucose is just sugar. So you're going to read today, a tree is like a hungry kid. As you read, think, what 4 things does a tree need for photosynthesis? So I'll have this below my teacher video, but it's going to look like this when you open it up. And you're just going to read, a tree is like a hungry kid. Now read very carefully. It's not very long. Here's our recipe again. It's not very long, but you will, at the end of our lesson today, have a quiz on this reading passage. So you'll want to read very carefully. Listen for the details. Pay attention to what it's telling us about photosynthesis. Okay. When you're finished reading, you'll come back to the slides, and let's take a look at what's next. So when we get to our Google Meet, here's what I want you to be ready to share. I want you to be ready to share the steps of photosynthesis. Also, if you have gathered up any leaves and you want to share some leaves, we will try to do that also. But what are the steps of photosynthesis? What is happening in photosynthesis? Because remember, our target said at the end, I'll know you've got it when you can tell me or explain to me the steps of photosynthesis. What is happening for this leaf to make food for the plant? Because remember, a plant can't just pull up their roots and go to McDonald's and get something to eat. A plant has to make its own food. So photosynthesis is needed, and the leaves have a very important job. After our Google Meet, then I'll ask you to take a quiz. And our quiz is going to be on the passage, just like I told you. A tree is like a hungry kid. You'll read the questions carefully, you'll pick the best answer, and then you'll answer the reflection questions completely that's at the end. So at the end of our lesson, after our Google Meet, you'll go to your Google Classroom to take your quiz. Okay? So, and our quiz will look like this when we get to the end of today. A tree is like a hungry kid, and it'll be our photosynthesis quiz. Okay, so I will see you at our Google Meet. Be ready to share what are the steps of photosynthesis. See you soon.